Wow, y'all. We finally got some new updates revolving around this situation. The three Kansas City Chiefs fans that were found in the backyard of one of their good friends. We have got to talk about this. What's up, y'all? As you guys already know, we have been covering this case for a while now. This three Kansas City Chief fans that were found perished in the backyard, frozen to their demise in the backyard of their good friend's home, or the home that he was renting in. But what's interesting is this story was hot for a while, and then it just went dead in the water. And the thing is I'm wondering what's going on here, okay? Because we already knew that these three guys went over to their good friend's home. His name is Jordan Willis, okay? They went over there. They were hanging out there, drinking some beers, doing their thing, smoking cigarettes. And also, from what we understand now, due to the toxicology reports, they were also partaking in some other types of party substances, for the lack of a better term. They say now that the levels of Fenty that I guess was ingested in this from the snow that they were taking, for lack of a better term, caused their demise. That they were outside, they lost their lives due to the substances and due to the extreme cold weather that their bodies were in. And again, of course, there was a lot of rumors flying around about Jordan Willis. I mean, they were saying that even in high school, he was called the chemist, like he was like a high school version of Heisenberg, okay, of Walter White. Okay, if you watch Breaking Bad, you know what I'm talking about. There was a lot of stories about him, being kind of like the mad scientist of party substances, putting concoctions together and getting people really, getting them, high. Okay. But of course, they now are saying, I mean, according to his lawyer, who is a very interesting lawyer, to say the least. And if you don't know about that, please go check out the ton of lives that we did covering this particular case. According to his lawyer, he's sitting there saying, hey, he is not the guy. He is not the person who's responsible for any of these things. Now, of course, there's a lot of rumor that maybe he partook in this as well. He fell asleep or passed out just like everybody else, but he happened to survive out of the four of the guys at the house, because how he handled things later was a bit odd. Okay. Like I said, optically, there was a lot of questionable things that Jordan did before, or, during and after the friends passed away, where a lot of people were speculating like he should be catching some sort of charges, or people should be looking at him with a hard side eye. But the thing is, now there is something coming, some new updates. I remember just a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I was even asking, what happened to the three Kansas City Chiefs fans case? Is Jordan Willis going to catch a charge or not? But so far, he hasn't. And they're saying right now, it's not going to be Jordan. So I'm wondering what's going on. We got this article and we got a video to take a look at. And this is very interesting. Okay. But it's very telling, because there's more information that happened during the course of us diving into this case, which is very interesting and very telling. So let's get into this. It says charges could be coming in the case related to the demise of three Kansas City Chief fans found in their friend's backyard in January, though likely not against the homeowner, according to the homeowner's lawyer. Now, I will say this really quick, okay? His lawyer, especially if you go back and watch a bunch of the lives where we check him out and hear him talk and all that stuff, let me just say this. Take whatever he says with a grain of salt. That's what I'm going to say, because I feel like this lawyer since day one has been clueless. Maybe he caught a clue since January. It's been a while now. You know what I mean? He may have read a book or two and caught up on some common sense, but I don't know. Okay. I just say take what he says with a grain of salt, all right, when we hear what he has to say, okay? So David Harrington, Clayton McGeeney, Ricky Johnson were visiting their friend. They were at Jordan Willis's home in Kansas City to watch the Chiefs play a game against the Chargers, okay, Los Angeles Chargers, in January 7th. 2 days later, the trio was found gone. in Willis's backyard. And those 2 days, Willis was apparently, he said, there's been so many different things that he said, but allegedly he was passed out for those 2 days too, which is very odd. And he had no clue that his friends were gone in the backyard at all. But of course, some people are starting to wonder, maybe he partook in the substances as well, but maybe he didn't do as much. And so it didn't affect him as badly and as deadly as it did his 3 friends. God only knows, but we're going to continue on. All right. Willis's attorney, John Picerno, all right, tells the article here that after speaking with prosecutors involved in the case, he believes charges will be filed in the coming weeks, but not against his client. He says, I do not anticipate that he's going to be charged with any kind of homicide in any way or involvement in that, Picerno says. And so obviously, we're very pleased with that. Clearly, Jordan would be very pleased with that. Okay. I think he went to rehab, and I said, he went to rehab, I think, if I'm correct, right after this whole thing went down. In fact, he moved out of the house immediately after this whole thing went down, checked himself into rehab, and has been hiding out. Okay. We have not heard one peep from Jordan Willis, except from his lawyer, who also, like I said, seems a bit clueless. And again, for him to sit here and say, charges will be filed, but not against my client. We don't see him getting any charges of any kind, okay, or in any way, or involvement for his involvement in this at all. Well, we're just gonna, like I said, we're just gonna roll with it for right now. That could possibly change, okay? Harrington's father, John, previously told the article here, Kansas City police had read him a toxicology report indicating that, snow, okay, the yayo, and Fenty were found in his son's body, though the report has not been made public, which is very interesting. But this is what we've heard back then, that there was Fenty laced in the yayo. That's what they say. Authorities have not disclosed CODs, the causes of demise, for the victims. Picerno says he believes the person who supplied the substances to the men could possibly face charges. Now, we got to talk about that too, okay? Which is very interesting. Let's not forget, we learned that there was going to be there was a fifth person, at the party. Or at the watch party. He came in, he hung out for a little while, but he left early. And I keep wondering, is that 5th person that was there, was he the plug? Is he the one who could possibly be catching a charge because he's the one who supplied these substances to these guys? Or could it be something else? Remember, let's not forget the Matthew Perry situation, okay, which was a godsend at the end of the day because you got some really bad people off the streets. But other people that were involved in supplying Matthew Perry with his chemicals, which he got a lot of, by the way, they got charged. They're getting charged for their involvement in his untimely demise, right? So we're seeing a lot of this happening, right, in these streets. People, these dealers, these plugs, if you will, catching charges for dealing tainted substances to people who end up losing their lives by using it, right? We see this all the time. So there's a possibility that the people that they're trying to get are the plugs, the dealers, etc. But I am still kind of curious as to, where did Jordan Willis get it? Is it Jordan? Is it Jordan to be the one who actually was the one to buy and supply, or was it one of the guys that brought the stuff over, right? So a lot of questions are being asked. You remember that, they talked about a chemistry set in his basement and all that stuff. I mean, like I said, it was crazy stuff being said, okay? So in an email to people, the prosecutor's office said that there was no new information to report, and the case is still under investigation. In March, 2 months after his son passed, Harrington said the results of the investigation wouldn't change anything. He said, I really don't care what they find out now. It doesn't matter to me. I've already said my goodbyes to David, and it's not going to change anything. Now, of course, this is obviously very crazy stuff. I mean, this case is very one of a kind. It's very wild and out there. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that we do know and love that have lost their lives to taking certain things like this and it being laced with something. Sometimes it's the first time they've ever taken something that ends up being the last time they tried something. And sometimes it's the 1,000th time they've taken something and they lose their lives in this kind of way. I do think that there really needs to be justice for sure. And some people need to be held accountable for what happened to this situation. But I guess the question still remains, should Jordan get involved with these charges? Should he be thrown in here as far as the accountability goes? As far as accountability goes with this whole situation. And I leave that question up to you guys. You already know what I think. Okay. I really do think that I really do think that there needs to be some sort of justice very, very soon. And I'm hoping that I do feel like it could involve some bringing Jordan to justice too. But we got another video here. We got a video that I want to share with you guys, and it is with Picerno. It's with Picerno. All right. Jordan Willis's lawyer talking about this whole thing on Dane Abrams. Shout out to News Nation for having this conversation. So I want to share with you guys this video. So let's rock and roll, shall we?
Now, thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right. So what can we expect is going to be happening in this case?
Thank you for having me on tonight, Dan. My understanding is that within 2 to 3 weeks that some type of charges are going to be coming forward. And reading between the lines, I anticipate that someone's going to get charged with some type of felony murder potentially. I am very confident that it won't be Jordan. From day one, we've talked about the fact that he had absolutely nothing to do with causing harm to his lifelong friends. I think that's been borne out by the law enforcement investigation.
Now, I want to say this really quick, okay? I will always say, at least with this particular lawyer, you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. Maybe a punch of salt. I don't know, because there's something about it, because he's saying, I'm quite confident that Jordan's not going to catch a charge. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that for sure? Are you really, really for sure he's not going to catch a charge, baby? You really sure? Because these three lost their lives by going to this guy's home. Now, sure, there could be some other things going on. Maybe Jordan's doing everything he can to cooperate. Maybe he's sitting there going, "Yeah, that's him. That's my plug right there." Maybe he's squawking. Maybe that's what he's doing. He's squealing like a pig. Sweet. Maybe he's doing that. I don't know. But it's very, very strange for him to sit there and say, I'm fairly confident that my client is not going to catch a charge. I don't think law enforcement is going to let you know that, especially if Jordan gives off the vibe like he's a flight risk. Just saying that. But let's continue.
So, felony murder. I would assume that is going to be someone who supplied them with the drugs?
You would think, and that would be anybody who was involved in that, whether it would be the person who manufactured the drugs to the person who received the drugs and then passed those drugs along.
Let me just say this. Ain't it wild that they put that out? That you don't think that the supplier, the plug, is watching these videos, watching this interview, reading the articles and hearing about this? Man, this dude could be packing up all of his stuff in a big old hefty bag and kicking rocks as fast as he can right now. I mean, at least that's what I would do if I thought I was getting hunted, being looked at by police. But that's just me, though. Let's continue, though.
Jordan has had nothing to do with that. And I think the investigation has taken quite a while. We voluntarily surrendered his telephone. We also gave a DNA sample voluntarily. And
that's what's up.
My understanding is from their investigation that the inspection of everyone's phones is leading to what's going to be charged and the fact that Jordan is not going to be charged. So
I think is very confident. I think he's overly confident in saying that his client is not going to catch any charges. I think it's too soon to say anything because the investigation wave, this roller coaster ride has been wild and anything can happen. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer, maybe he is right. Maybe this guy won't catch any charges, but I don't know. Something just tells me that this lawyer is not completely correct.
Quite confident of that. Whether Jordan gets charged with another crime or not, that's up in the air, and we'll just have to wait and see.
When you say he may get charged with another crime, what potential crime could that be?
There we go.
Well, there's a lot of speculation about what he may or may not have done that evening, but none of it has to do with his friend's death. So we're very happy and pleased about that. And I don't want to speculate on what a prosecutor is going to do in terms of making their charging decision when they haven't told me. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, that's the other question. Picerno. Wait. So you're telling me that the client, you're saying he won't get charged, but he could get charged. Well, what could he get charged with? What could he get charged with? He said for other things that happened that don't pertain to the what happened to these three. So what is it? Did he cover up some evidence? Did he clean up the crime scene? Remember that, guys? Okay, the place was absolutely spotless from what we understand. Okay, there were things that were left behind by 5-0 that should have been picked up, evidence that we all believe was evidence, right? So I'm wondering, what is it? Cleaning up the evidence? Cleaning up the crime scene? Because for a fact, I'm sure there was residue of yayo and stuff like that just everywhere, right? I'm sure were doing more than just doing powder. They may have been rolling up. You know what I mean? But I don't know, right? It's very odd, right? This is very, very strange. So that's interesting that he said, oh, he's not going to catch charges, but he may get one. So I'm wondering what that charge be.
But you are convinced that your client, A, is not going to face any kind of serious charges, and B, that someone else will?
From day one, I was convinced of that, and I am right now today that he's not going to be having any type of liability regarding that. And my understanding from the information that I know right at this time and I've learned recently is that someone is going to be charged, and maybe more than one person.
Whoa. So more than one person, but wait. So, but you're telling me more than one person is going to catch a charge, right? More than one person is going to catch a charge, but none of them are going to be your client. So make that make sense. So it's not going to be your client, but it's going to be other people. I get it that the plug and other people, within that line of work, right, that sell substances, sure. But your client is going to walk out unscathed? That's a strong statement to make. These three lost their lives in his backyard. If he helped supply any of that stuff, he's not going to catch a charge? I don't know. I beg to differ, guys. I beg to differ.
With something like felony murder?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
But you don't know the exact charge?
No, and I don't know, how many suspects there are. I just know that, fortunately, that Jordan's not going to be one of them.
And were you able to figure this out based on what they're talking about with regard to your client, or did someone in law enforcement just tell you?
No, it's based on what they told me regarding my client, what the investigations, in these cases, Dan, law enforcement gets on the phones and they have every single text message, phone call, social media post, all of that stuff. I've been doing this 30 years, and here in the last, 10 years since we've got social media, it's very rare for me to get a case where it's not heavily a lot of evidence in that regard. And so we knew early on that wasn't going to be a problem for Jordan. And apparently it's turned into a problem for a couple of other individuals.
And the police have been saying there is no foul play. That has been very frustrating to the families of those who are deceased. Do you think that this is going to change that assessment?
From what I understand, it is going to. And I think, the big thing here with particularly my client is that he didn't want to harm his buddies, and he wouldn't have done anything to harm them at all. So we were very happy to hear about the investigation and what it showed and proved from his end. And we're just going to have to wait and see till the prosecutor releases, their information and what they're going to do. I think it's important to note, Dan, that this is a rural county. It's north of Kansas City. They have approximately 8 to 10 prosecutors, where down in Jackson County, Kansas City, we have 80 or so. So it's a more rural area, and things generally move a little slower in that particular office. As to why it took 9 months, I don't know. That's something we're going to have to learn from the prosecutors, and hopefully we will in the next few months.
Now, what's crazy, okay? You heard all that, okay? You heard every single last bit of that. And what's crazy to me is that, that this lawyer is being very confident in saying, hey, I believe that my client is not going to catch not one charge. And I'm telling you right now, that is a very, very big claim, okay? Anything's still possible. The case is still ongoing. He even said himself, it's been 9 months. It takes some time, especially with the lack of the lack of resources that they have as far as being able to do this investigation properly, or at least swiftly here and all that. I mean, there's a lot to put into consideration. So yeah, he could sit here and say that he's not going to catch a charge, but there's still a possibility he could. You're telling me that other people are going to get charged with maybe felony M, but he's not going to catch not one thing? Like I said, that's a strong statement to make, and I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I've been wrong millions of times before. So let's just see what happens. But at the same time, lucky for Jordan that he's not catching a charge so far, but maybe these charges that haven't happened may be happening soon. As the investigation continues to develop, I'm sure they're going to find more stuff. Who supplied them with the stuff? Who asked for the stuff? You can't tell me he's not going to catch not one charge, even just for having the stuff in his possession. That's a charge right there. He may not get felony M, but he's going to catch a charge for just supplying the substances if he is the one to indeed supply the substances, right? Again, like I said, with this, Picerno, you got to take him with a grain of salt. That's just my personal opinion. But what say you guys? What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with me? Do you think that there's going to be more charges coming to Jordan Willis? Or do you think he's going to walk out of here just without a scratch, without a legal scratch? That will be wild, y'all, if that's true. But comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button if you're watching on other platforms. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Anyways, time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.